South Point is also proud to provide a variety of relaxing amenities for the guests who want to be pampered. Soak up the sun and let your stress melt away in our lagoon-style paradise swimming pool. A relaxing getaway where you can bask in the desert sun and enjoy seasonal food and bar service poolside. And if you really want to escape, come to Spa Costa del Sur. From couple suites to a co-ed wet area, our spa caters to business and leisure travelers who want to unwind and elevate their senses. A visit to one of our spa's steam, sauna, or whirlpool treatment rooms will leave any guest feeling like they can take on the world.
Looking to bet smarter? Get sports betting insight and winning picks straight from the South Point Hotel and Casino.
I think we're going to get goals from both sides here. Give me over 5.5.
That is also one of my favorite plays of the weekend is the Colts -3 on the road.
So you're getting plus 130 here.
I mean, how can you go against Tusky?
Exactly.
Join Sports by the Book at 10 a.m. Pacific and bet your winning edge.
Heading to Las Vegas to catch the action at Allegiant Stadium? Skip the traffic and the sky-high room rates of the Strip. Book your stay at the South Point Hotel, Casino, and Spa. The South Point is located just 7 miles away from the stadium, and it's a quick trip up the freeway, making it an affordable rideshare or taxi ride. And don't worry about getting here when you land in Vegas. We offer a convenient airport shuttle to get your getaway off to a stress-free start. Shuttles are also available on Raider game days for a small fee. So whether you're rooting for your team or seeing your favorite band in concert at Allegiant Stadium, South Point Hotel, Casino, and Spa is your ticket to all the excitement.
Happy Hump Day, everybody, and welcome in. We are one day closer to what on paper looks like one of the better football weekends we have had in a while. This is Sports by the Book, though. We've got action tonight. Looking forward to a lot of these games on the hardwood with college basketball, some really good games on the ice. So we're going to break it all down here on Sports by the Book, as we always do. We are live from the South Point Hotel and Casino. You can catch us 5 days a week at 10 a.m. Monday through Thursday and noon on Fridays. I'm Alex White alongside Ryan McCormick. Ryan, we cover it all here. Had some winners yesterday, had a couple losers. You and Matt got the best of me. You guys liked Duke, I liked Louisville, and that kind of fell apart there for me at the end. Overall, how was your night?
Yeah, it was a good night. The Avalanche didn't get it done. They end up losing by 2 goals to the Lightning in Tampa. So looks like the pick'em was right on that price there, but the Flyers did get it done, winning by multiple goals there against the Ducks, getting plus 175 there. You mentioned Duke getting it done against Louisville. Really only in the second half. Louisville looked better in the first, and Duke, made it up in the second half. But 2-1 on the board in the games yesterday. And then talking about, to kind of recap how things went yesterday, in the NHL first, favorites went 4-5-1 straight up. The Vegas Golden Knights in Winnipeg were a pick'em, so that's the one tie there. 9 puck lines were covered, all by home teams in the NHL yesterday. 5 of which were reverse puck lines, and totals went 8-2. So I mentioned the 9 puck lines covered by home teams. Home teams went 9-1 yesterday. The only loss was the Winnipeg Jets in overtime to our Vegas Golden Knights. So They managed to end their own losing streak and expand the Winnipeg Jets to 10 games now that they've lost consecutively.
I saw that happening real time, 6-0, the home teams on the ice, and then the Knights playing tough, go to overtime. I was trying not to jinx them, hoping that they could stop the trend there with a road team winning, but pretty wild that they really dominated. If you were an Auburn backer for college basketball, at least on the money line, that's a brutal loss for you against Texas A&M. Texas Tech, we are very fortunate. They threw up a last-minute three-pointer there to get us that cover with the 6.5. So 2-2 for me on the hardwood, but the Sharks did save me with a good plus price there. Ryan, I want to bring up a trend I kind of forgot about until last night. I did have Central Florida yesterday, and they were the ranked team going to an unranked team, and they ended up losing outright. And that's a pretty trendy, well-known, but can be very profitable with college basketball. When you have an unranked team that's hosting a ranked team, especially if they are going to be on a national media coverage, right? If they're on ESPN or something like that, those teams, you're going to get the best 40 minutes from them. And yesterday we saw 4-0 ATS. Now, there were a couple where they were actually the favorites in Oklahoma State and Florida, but they covered as favorites too. So I want to kind of start keeping track of that. And that kind of leads us to our poll question today, because we've got 3 dogs on the hardwood, Ryan, that are hosting ranked teams tonight.
Yeah, so we wanted your guys' thoughts. We gave you 3 dogs looking to end their losing streaks yesterday on the ice, none of which got it done. So we're hoping that we can pick some for you guys today. But home court advantage, which college hoops team are you taking the points with against a ranked team? So Providence getting 10.5 against UConn at home, Baylor getting 4.5 against Iowa State at home, and Ole Miss getting 4 against Arkansas at home there.
Love those ones. We'll kind of touch on them. Don't really have any plays there, but it does kind of keep me off of the teams that I would like the favorite, like Iowa State or Arkansas, thinking that they should be a little bit bigger of a favorite, but definitely keeps me off of those. I would have a bet on Providence, but I can't bet against UConn right now and how they are playing and winning by these big margins. So I'd love to hear from everybody else what they think. I love that the chat is going already. Can't believe I didn't start there with John Harbaugh, no longer the head coach of the Baltimore Ravens. I think most people do know one of my favorite coaches, one of my favorite duos there with him and Lamar Jackson. So should be interesting to see where he goes and who Baltimore ends up getting. Were you shocked by that news yesterday, Ryan?
A little bit, and it seemed like it was a mutual parting of ways, but Harbaugh made sure to have the actual description being that he was fired to make sure that he gets the money and the contract that he was guaranteed for the rest of his deal. So not technically a mutual parting of ways. It was technically a firing, but I just don't know who you're going to hire that's going to be better than John Harbaugh was for them. Second longest tenured head coach in the National Football League. No one kind of is really, the fact that Harbaugh is now available, Kevin Stefanski is now available. Those are 2 coaches that were Coach of the Year candidates during their tenure in their previous stop, and it's going to be a pretty good hiring for whoever gets them. So not necessarily it's hard to say that those organizations are going to get an improvement at head coach from the guys that they just got rid of. So we have Attila asking who we think is the best fit for the Raiders. And who you want for those Ravens to hire. But I ultimately think with Brady's involvement in the Raiders, I do think Brian Flores is going to get another opportunity as being a head coach. I do kind of believe the rumors of Flores coming in as the defensive head coach and then bringing over Brian Daboll as the offensive coordinator, which would be pretty nice. And then Brady's been enamored with Fernando Mendoza, so they might end up picking him number 1 overall and hopefully righting the ship here in Las Vegas and giving us a winner here in town.
I do not hate that at all with Brian Flores. And like you said, going defensive minded there, as long as they do get the right fit for the OC to be paired with him for the Raiders. But I do think John Harbaugh will be a fantastic get for any team who does. It's looking like he right now from the offshore books that do allow you to bet on that. He's the favorite for the New York Giants. But it does seem like, Ryan, this could be a very similar situation to the Andy Reid. And I think Chris brought it up on Monday, Chris Andrews, sportsbook director here at the South Point, where it could benefit both of them, right? Because it felt like, okay, you're not going to get better than Andy Reid, but did need a different voice. And then both of them have gone on to win multiple Super Bowls since then. So I do think it could be good for both sides. Wouldn't you agree? Even though I'm with you, like if I don't know how you think you're going to get better. And a lot of people want that flashy name and they want a head coach that is one or the other, offensive or defensive. And we know John Harbaugh is more of the CEO type of head coach, but I think he's fantastic. And you're not going to find a guy that can keep a culture like that for as long as he did in Baltimore. So it'll be very fascinating to see what happens next.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. And messages can get old pretty quick. And the fact that he was there for 18 years and Rappaport kind of revealed that he might have lost the locker room the last couple of seasons. So it, definitely was time to kind of move on. And we've seen memes of the goalposts of the kick for the Ravens. The two sides that would have been missed was John Harbaugh fired, and down the middle would have been Mike Tomlin fired. I just think it's really funny that we have a team that still has their head coach in the organization, but is still calling John Harbaugh's agent to see how willing he would be to take over that organization. We don't know what team that is. Could be those Steelers, and it'd be really, really funny if Steelers fired Tomlin and the Ravens fired Harbaugh, and then they essentially just trade head coaches. That don't know if that'll actually happen, but it would be really funny. I do think, the Giants' job would be great for Harbaugh. Kevin Stefanski is someone I think would be really good in that Giants job. I've also seen rumors of Harbaugh taking the Cardinals job. I think the Cardinals are perfectly okay with being mediocre. That organization has been sorry for a very long time, and J.J. Watt had kind of revealed that their facilities are garbage, and their ownership really just doesn't care. They're fully happy with getting the revenue share and just being part of the league. So it's going to take a lot more for that Cardinals organization to turn things around, similar to the Tennessee Titans.
And then, of course, they send 2 college teams there, right, to play one of our semifinal games on probably the not best of fields and everything. But I did see Vance Joseph maybe for Arizona Cardinals, which I am all for, giving him another shot. But maybe somewhere that he can actually succeed this time. And that feels, I guess he probably should have in Denver. We're seeing that now. But that seems like a tough spot for him, right? So we'll find out or we'll keep up with all of this as it comes out. It is very intriguing. Definitely. I did see, too, with the Browns in Baltimore potentially just switching coaches now that both of them have been fired. But I don't think that John Harbaugh will end up in Cleveland, of all spots. All right, let's get to it. Let's get to today's action. Some of our best bets. I do have some on the hardwood. Ryan's got some on the ice. And then we need to talk about the semifinal games, Miami, Ole Miss, Fiesta Bowl, and then Oregon, Indiana, because Brian will be at one of those games tomorrow in Arizona. So we're going to get his final thoughts. And if you didn't catch it yet, we do have a special out with Spencer McLaughlin. We appreciate him. He is the host of Locked On College Football, Locked On Ducks. And he broke down those games for us. And he's a Ducks fan, and you will be shocked to hear what he had to say about that matchup. So make sure and go check that out. All right. As we mentioned, though, first poll question is about college basketball. Go ahead and take a look and pick your favorite of those 3 dogs tonight. I do see in the chat a request for Kentucky, Missouri. I do not have anything on that game, but I do have a number, so I can give that to Dean Hilt quickly before we do go through our plays for the day. Let me just search that to get it a little bit quicker here. Missouri, Kentucky, I guess a little bit to the over here, but right there with the number, Kentucky being a favorite, maybe a little bit higher. I've got 10. It is 13 currently, if I'm not mistaken.
12.5.
12.5 now. Okay. So they did take that 13. Kind of agree with that there, but total being 151.5. It has been bet up from 150. No, it's kind of gone everywhere. 151.5 down to 150 some places, up to 151.5. I've got 155, so not enough to make it a play, but a little bit of a lean to the over between those two. But let's keep it moving because there's a couple games that really jumped out to me that I really like tonight, and we're going to kick it off in the Big Ten.
All right, going to Maryland and Indiana. 667, 668 is your rotation number. Maryland is a 7.5 point underdog at home to the Hoosiers, and the total is 147. Alex, what do you say here?
I have not been giving out a lot of favorites in college basketball yet, but I do really like this one. If you look at Ken Palm's number, he has Indiana winning by 7. And a lot of times I think the books kind of follow that almost gospel, right? And I think Indiana should be a bigger favorite here because if you remember, Maryland lost 2 of their best guys, 2 of their big forwards in Derek Queen and Julian Reese. And it's been a rough year so far for them. Indiana, very balanced, 27th in KenPom overall, 41st offensively, 31st defensively. Maryland right now 0-3 in conference play, and they have not beat a team better than top. They have not beat anybody in the top 100 yet on the year. So their big win was Marquette and UNLV. Again, Indiana is 27th, so I think this is going to be a tough one for them. I like the Hoosiers -7.5.
All right, we'll go over to up to Wisconsin. Marquette getting to host Xavier. Marquette is a 4-point favorite. Total is 158.5. What do your numbers say?
Originally, I was just going over here because there is a big difference. 150. Okay, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong one. That kind of scared me. I was like, wait, that's an underplay. But I like the points here with Xavier, and I do like the over. I've got it 164, so that is a big enough difference there. I also just think Marquette should be 1.5 points. This isn't the same Marquette team that we have seen as of late, and quite frankly, that conference is just loaded. The Big East is very good. Marquette still looking for their first conference win. That worries me a little bit, but both teams love to push the pace, very quick offensively. The Golden Eagles are 59th quickest and 18th on offense, and Xavier is 70 quickest, 40th on offense. Xavier does have home revenge, so if you want to add that in, and it was actually in the Big East Conference tournament. So did work out for us. Texas Tech played very well yesterday, so it might be another one that we can lean on there. So I like the points and I like the over in this one. Have not decided which one I like more.
There are 4.5 still available in the market for Xavier. There also is a 3.5 in the market as well if you want to lay less there with the Golden Eagles of Marquette. But we'll go down to Carolina. Wake Forest getting to host Miami. Rotation number 681, 682. Miami is here at the South Point. It is a pick in this game, either side, and total is 155.
That's funny. Right now, I'm kind of leaning to all these teams that are playing in the semifinals, right? And maybe that is like a university, get everybody playing good, because so far I like Indiana. I also like Miami, Florida a lot here. I love the turnaround in just 1 year Jay Lucas has done. Last year, they were 7-24. Right now, they've started up the season. They are 12-2. This will be a little bit of a challenge. It's their first road conference game, but we already saw the Canes go on the road and beat Ole Miss. So I think that they will be up for this challenge. Team is shooting 60% from 2. That is 18th best in the country. They are 34th defensively. They're also 9th in offensive rebounding, and Wake is not a great rebounding team and not a great defending, especially field goals here. So I think Miami's got the edge offensively and defensively, like the way this team is playing. So I'm going with Miami, Florida. Pick them here to win this game outright.
All right, going to 689, 690, St. Louis at VCU. We have VCU as a 3-point favorite here at the South Point. There are 3.5s in the market as well. 3-point favorite here at the South Point. But total is 171.5 here at the South Point as well. Total, there is a 170 in the market as well.
should be a great game here between these two, and the Atlantic 10 Conference is looking very strong. If you remember last year, VCU was the top team there, but St. Louis has been on a roll, playing outstanding ball right now. They're 24th in tempo. They're 6th offensively. They do like to play quick. They are 3rd in the country in efficient field goal percentage, shooting 62% from 2 and they are 39th from the 3. So I like the over here. I do think St. Louis can keep this one close, but I do think we're going to get points from both sides. As I mentioned, VCU was the top team in the conference last year, and right now they are 30th in offense efficiency, 72nd defensively. So I do think we'll get points from both sides. These two split last year, home and home, and they both play pretty quick. So over 171.5. It's a very high total, but I think we're going to get a lot of points here, and even lean to St. Louis side because they've been playing so well, and I think they're going to keep it going, catching 3 on the road.
All right, we do have a play of the day from Kenny White here before we get to those unranked getting to host a ranked trend that you were talking about earlier in the show. But 7-13, 7-14, FAU at UAB. Looks like we've got UAB as a 4-point favorite here at the South Point, total 162.5.
I had to put this on here because I saw his sheet and he has such a big difference. Made it 174.5. What did you say we're at right now, Ryan? It has bumped up.
162.5.
162.5. So yeah, it's been bet up from 160, 161. But I mean, 174.5 is his raw number. If you look at his spreadsheet, it's all blue. Both of them, well, Florida Atlantic 4-1 in their last 5 to the over. So a lot of points, big difference. Wanted to throw that out there. FAU, UAB over 162.5. I don't really have anything for these, but if you want to go through just to compare numbers or wait till we get what the chat thinks for that ranked versus unranked, but I don't have any plays in those ones. So we can go to let's wait till we get the chat's opinion, and if they ask for any numbers in there, and then let's go to some college football here.
Okay. So we'll start with the Fiesta Bowl, which is taking place tomorrow down in Arizona, Ole Miss and Miami. I will be in attendance for this game, so I'm very excited about it. But Miami currently as a 3-point favorite here at the South Point. Open 3, touch 3.5, and we're now back to the 3. So total of 52. What do your numbers say, Alex?
I don't have Miami quite as high. Let me pull that up because I've already talked myself into all of my plays here, but for actual number sake, I'll have to find that. But I didn't make Miami that high. I think I made them 2, maybe 1.5, so it's not a huge difference, but I like the way this Ole Miss team is playing. I do think that there's some value there getting the points, and if I'm wrong and Miami covers, I'm not switching next week when they're in the championship and taking the points with them because I've been against them too much this whole run. But I do think Ole Miss can play them tough. And if you look at both of these teams throughout the regular season, I mean, Mississippi has faced some good defenses, right? And Oklahoma comes to mind. Could be very similar to this Miami Hurricanes defense. I like the point you brought up, Ryan. The difference of tempo here offensively, Ole Miss wants to play fast. They're 20th quickest in the country, and they're going to try and just wear down this Miami front here. And I think they got a shot. I'm also going to kind of look to first quarter, first half. Something's telling me to take the Rebels first half again, like I did last week against Georgia. That did not get there, but ultimately I jumped in game. But what about you, Ryan? What do you think?
Yeah, I know last week you pointed out that Ole Miss loves to start hot. I think they had the top point differential in the first quarter of any team in the FCS or FBS this season. But I do fully think that Miami is going to be very well prepared for this game, knowing that the fact that they would have an opportunity to host the national championship in the stadium that they play in back down in Miami. So they're going to be hungry. And I know the Ole Miss players are hungry. They want to stick it to Lane Kiffin, even though he's going to get his bonuses get paid by LSU. So it's a win-win for him anyway. But yeah, I'll preface it by saying that my brother does attend Ole Miss, so I will be rooting for Ole Miss. But aside from that, I do think Ole Miss has an opportunity to be competitive in this game, to keep this one close, and ultimately maybe end up winning this game outright. We had kind of seen whenever Miami has to face tempo, they get gassed. Their defensive line gets tired, and they're able to be beaten on the edges and down the field. And Ole Miss has the best passing offense in the country. There's the second offense in all of Division I programs in yards per game. They are number one in Power 4 by over 15 yards per game. They have the 10th best scoring offense in college football, the 8th best in Power 4, averaging 37.9 points per game. You compare that to Miami's defense, this will be a strength on strength. Miami's number 10 defense in yards per game, number 8 in Power 4, and they have the 4th best scoring defense in college football, allowing only 13.1 points per game. So if Ole Miss is able to keep the tempo, able to get Trinidad Chambliss out of the pocket and make the defensive linebackers chase after him and kind of get gassed, that's why I'm a little hesitant on the first half, more so come back in the second half when those guys are getting tired. But yeah, the Ole Miss's passing offense is the best in the country, 316 yards per game. And they have a better rushing offense than Miami does, 180.3 yards per game compared to Miami's 152. We've seen Miami's rushing offense heat up the last couple of weeks,
Yes.
Really buying into Mark Fletcher and letting kind of the team run behind him instead of having Carson Beck kind of throw it around, which is how Miami is going to win this game. The Ole Miss does have several defenders that played with Carson Beck at Georgia, so little familiarity there, having to practice against him all the time. If Miami controls the pace of play, allows their defense to get a breather by going on the back of Mark Fletcher, they will be able to control this game and slow down the Ole Miss offense. But looking at the pass defenses, Ole Miss has a better pass defense than Miami does. Miami just leads the country, or is one of the top teams in the country in getting sacks. So as long as Trinidad Chambliss doesn't get sacked and doesn't allow the pressure to actually get to him and is able to kind of allow the crossers to open up and find the open man, I do believe Ole Miss will have a chance in this game.
Which he is very good at. So should be a good one here. I see. That's why you talk these things out, because that's a great point about kind of not jumping in on that first half, seeing if that plays out and the defense gets a little worn down there. But I do want to ask you, what if Miami, got to establish the run first, of course, especially because it has been so good with Fletcher. But what if they do open it up a little bit and let Carson Beck? Because they're going to have to in the championship game, right? So you might as well start trying to lean on him a little bit more here in the semifinals game.
Yeah, obviously Carson Beck has the pedigree and being in national championship scenarios with Georgia, or being in the college football playoff, getting deep into the college football playoff with Georgia. So they paid him a whole lot of money to be the guy that leads Miami. So for them to trust him, they shouldn't be hesitant at, but they would be better off going off the back of Mark Fletcher in this game, really controlling the pace of play. Right. And as I said, allowing their defense to get a breather when Ole Miss is going to pick up the tempo and make them get gassed. So, if it ultimately ends up being a shootout, I think that favors Ole Miss. If the Miami defense is able to kind of contain it, they're going to be running the ball. They shouldn't put Carson Beck in the situation to make mistakes. It really kind of just depends on how you believe the game will play out. And yeah, you're 100% right about they're going to need to, in the next matchup, Miami will, if they get there to the national championship. Those two defenses in Oregon and Indiana are two of the best in the country, regardless of run stop or pass stop. So they're going to need to be a fully complementary offense if they get there next week. But for this one, I do think that they would be better off going with the ground game and not putting as much on Carson Beck's shoulders.
Really looking forward to this one. A little over 24 hours away. the Fiesta Bowl here. Ole Miss, Miami Hurricanes. My one concern, because I definitely do like the dog here, my big concern is the coaching staff. I just hope everybody's still focused and bought in and putting enough time and energy into preparing for this matchup against the Canes, where, to your point, the Canes one game away from being able to host a national championship game. All right, let's turn to the next one here. Let's go to the Peach Bowl, a rematch, Big Ten matchup here, Indiana and Oregon. We talked about this a lot on the special with Spencer McLaughlin, but 7 to 7.5 point favorite Oregon was at home in week 6, and now it is completely flipped. It is on a neutral. Indiana, a 3.5 point favorite. Ryan, what are you thinking in this one? Great points were brought up in our special about both of these defenses being elite. So might be one way to look there, under 47.5, maybe first half under. What do you think inside or total here?
I definitely like the under in this game. I understand that the first matchup in Oregon, in Autzen, was 30-20 final, but understand that there were 17 points scored in that fourth quarter, 7 of which were thanks to a pick 6 thrown by Fernando Mendoza, and then Dante Moore threw another 2 interceptions. So all 3 interceptions were thrown in the fourth quarter of that game. Dan Lanning's team was, I believe, 5 of 14 on third down, or maybe 3 of 14 on third down, and then Indiana was 4 of 14 on third down. So both teams getting the stops when they needed to. Indiana didn't go for it on fourth down. Oregon went for it on their first drive of the game. So it should be a very competitive battle. These teams obviously want to beat each other to have the right to play in the national championship next week. But I do think that the right play here, regardless of side, I do think that the right play is the under 47.5.
I'm with you. Let's go. Defensive battle here between these two, and thought it was very interesting. Spencer brought up how many points Indiana had given up this year, right? Gave up 22 to Oregon in overtime. What was it for Iowa again? That was actually the most. But so both really good defenses. I can't help it. I'm going to take a shot on the dog here, plus 3.5. I do think with the revenge factor, with all this time in between, having this on their mind, we saw some of the Oregon defensive players kind of say, or maybe at least one, mention, they had come off of a big win against Penn State, had a bye week. They got a little overconfident, and they took Indiana too lately. So I know that they aren't going to do that here. Another coaching concern, though, with this underdog here, with both coordinators leaving. But, that defense pitched a shutout last week. So I do think that they can hang around in this one. I like the under with Ryan here, and I am going to take the points here with Oregon.
Sean, can you go back to those exactas for Indiana, please? Okay, so we're looking at plus 275 for Indiana to defeat Miami, plus 425 for Ole Miss to lose to Miami in the national championship. But he also had the Oregon side of 7-1 and 8-1 there. I do think if you think Oregon's going to win this game, you should jump on them to win the national championship, because I agree with Spencer in the fact that I think the winner of this game will ultimately end up winning the national championship. So the value there would be with Oregon to defeat either Ole Miss or Miami. You're not necessarily getting as much with Indiana to defeat Miami, but I do think whichever side wins this game will ultimately end up winning the national championship.
I agree. Definitely think those are the best two left. And, who knows? Miami, if they can get through this one, they've got a shot. They already took down one giant in the Big Ten. So, got a shot, but I think it'll be tough. Definitely. Looking forward to both of those two games coming up here. And as I mentioned, we do have a big, deeper dive, a breakdown there on the YouTube channel. If you are not subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button. We thank you, everybody who has in the last month or so, to really help our numbers. Okay, let's take a quick break. Please make sure you jumped in if that poll is still going, because we are going to switch it. We do have a poll question for you guys coming up on the ice, and I love it. Joey B loves to call me out for that revenge factor. Got one on the hardwood and one on the gridiron with the Oregon Ducks there. Let's take a quick break. When we get back, we're going to break down the 5 hockey games coming up this evening. We want to hear from you guys for the poll question, too, when we get back on Sports by the Book.
We have 11 amazing restaurants featuring a wide variety for every price range and appetite. South Point's Garden Buffet has something for everyone at unbeatable prices. Or, if hunger strikes in the middle of the night, join us at Coronado Cafe. The American menu offers breakfast, lunch, or dinner 24 hours a day, plus a Chinese kitchen for authentic Chinese dishes from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. From steak and eggs to wonton soup, it's fast and friendly service 24/7. When you need a quick pick-me-up, you can find it at our state-of-the-art Starbucks just inside the main South Point entrance. Order ahead with the Starbucks app for easy mobile order pickups. Or enjoy your favorites in the relaxing dining area anytime, day or night. If you love Mexican food, Baja Miguel's has all of your south of the border favorites. There are dozens of classics to choose from, like fajitas, ceviche, chimichangas, tacos, and more. And for spirit lovers, Baja's colorful non-smoking tequila bar is right outside.
Welcome back, everybody. Sports by the Book is the show. We are live from the South Point Hotel and Casino. Alex White, Ryan McCormick. We do have a ticker trivia that is live right now, brought to you by City Light Shine. And we did a lot of basketball talk earlier, Ryan, and it is a basketball question, but for the pros.
Yeah, it is an NBA basketball question for you guys today. We went with that as well as the poll being a basketball question to start today's episode. We're going to give you guys another poll talking about hockey as we're about to get into that. But to read the results of the basketball poll to start the show, home court advantage, the home team you're taking points with as a ranked team versus a ranked team in college basketball today. So Baylor getting 4.5 against Iowa State at home. Ole Miss getting 4 against Arkansas at home. And Providence getting 10.5 against UConn at home. And we have a split decision, or a tie, really. Our viewers going 43% with Baylor taking the 4.5 against Iowa State, and then 43% with Ole Miss taking the 4 against Arkansas. So loving the 4s there, our viewers.
It's very interesting because with Baylor, of course, there's some controversy because James Nagy signed with the pros, right? And now he is playing with the Baylor Bears. He just had his debut in the last game. They did lose to TCU, but now a second game here with the team. That kind of intrigues me. But I am a big TJ Otzelberger fan, so I like that Iowa State team too. So just a really good matchup that I will be watching for sure. All right, you want to start it off with our hockey poll question before we go through those games?
Sure. Last night we gave you the U-turn, ending the losing streaks, and so much for that U-turn. How about your favorite pick to build a win streak? Both these teams coming out, or all three of these teams coming off of a win, but who starts a streak here tonight? So the Capitals are a -120 favorite at home against the Stars. The Canadiens are a -155 favorite at home against the Flames, and the Mammoth are a -125 favorite at home against the Senators. So go ahead and let us know your thoughts in that poll. Give us a comment in the chat for a shout out. But with that, we will get started talking about the Dallas Stars and Washington Capitals, as that is first in rotation number order for hockey. So we talked about, or mentioned, that the Capitals are a minus 120 favorite at home. The total is 6.5 here at the South Point with juice to the under.
Is this wild here? I mean, the Capitals just $1.20 at home against this Dallas Stars team that has lost 6 in a row, so they've got their own streak going. It will be Casey DeSmith, not Ottinger. I mean, I made it 125, but then adding in that losing streak here, you got to give some to the Caps. I think that's a great price, and they're playing good. I do think that they could go on a little bit of a streak here, so I'm going to add that. Logan Thompson playing better again. The Stars, it's their 4th game in 6 nights, so while they're trying to turn the table, not all things on their side there. Total was bumped up to 6.5. Ryan, any thoughts on that? Because I think it's a little high, but I do understand the move with the way the Capitals have been playing. And the Stars, 7 of their road games coming into this one have gone over.
Yeah, I did like it. I was leaning to the over 6 this morning, as it was a minus 120 price, but now that we're at 6.5 here at the South Point with the juice to the under, not at all a confident play, being the fact that these two teams played earlier this year, and it was a 1-0 contest. So the Capitals coming off of a 7-goal victory against the Ducks, and the Stars, are losers of 6 straight. And yeah, you mentioned that it's their 4th in 6 nights, but it's also their 2nd of a back-to-back. They also have 4 more on a road trip starting a road trip after tonight. They have 4 more of a road trip after tonight. They go from East Coast with their last 2 games and now go across the coast to the West Coast for the 4 remaining games of their road trip. They start in San Jose, then go to LA, then Anaheim, and then to Utah before finally going back home. But in their last 6 losses, they've given up at least 4 goals in all 6 games. They've scored 3 themselves in 5 of those 6, at least 3 in 5 of those 6. So both offenses feeling good at the moment. The Stars defense, not so much. So that was why it was a lean to the over. But now that we're at 6.5 with no chance to push there on the 6, and with how these two teams battled before, I don't know if I can actually get there, even though it is even money to get 7 there. But it will be a look to the Capitals. We did just move off of the minus 120 here at the South Point to minus 115, so it looks like there has been action for the Stars. There are several even monies available in the market for the Stars, but 115 here at the South Point for the Capitals.
Wow, 115. I mean, people are just betting on them, trying to stop that losing streak. Who won the first one, 1-0?
I believe Dallas did.
Okay.
Let me make sure. Because I think it was Dallas at home, 1-0. But let me confirm that.
It's pretty ironic. All 5 of our home teams are actually trying to start a winning streak here. So pick the 3 that were going up against teams that were on a losing streak.
Yeah, it was Dallas 1-0 at home.
Dallas 1-0 at home. Okay.
All right.
Caps, let's go.
We'll go to
another 7 goal.
Up to Montreal. The Canadiens taking on the Flames, a battle of Canada here. But the Canadiens, minus 155 favorite here at the South Point, 135 on the buyback for the Flames. Total is 6 with 115 to the over.
I've got my total right there, 6 over, minus 115, and I have Montreal minus 160. So for once, Ryan, I do not have a fade of the Calgary Flames. Just have nothing in this one. What about you?
It is the first of a road trip for the Flames. They have 5 road trip games coming up. They are on the first of a back-to-back as well. They are in Boston tomorrow night, but they come into this one losing 2 straight. They have not lost 3 straight since we were fading the Flames to start the year. They have not lost 3 straight since the beginning of November, so they've been pretty good at ending losing streaks. But I don't think they do so tonight. I do think Montreal is the right side, but I do not want to lay that minus 155 in order to get them on the money line. It is the first game back home off of a 5-game road trip for the Canadiens. 7 if you include the 2 games before Christmas, so they more than likely came home for the holidays, but 7 straight road games. This is the first time that the Habs fans will get their boys back in the building. But on that road trip, Montreal won 4 of those 7, and 4 of those 7 went into overtime, losing 2 in the shootout, winning 2 in overtime. So playing a little bit of extra hockey are the Canadians, but I think being back at home will have their fans fired up, especially in a Battle of Canada. So it is a lean. More likely than not, we'll try and play the puck line here with the Canadians. Looks like we've got plus 170 here at the South Point for the Canadians, minus the puck and a half at home.
Really got to dive into the Canadians, take a look at their goalie roster right now. So it will be Jacob Fowler, who has only played 7 games, but has been really good. I'm not really sure what the Habs are doing in that position. Feels like they've got a constant rotation here, but I think that is the right side. I agree with you. Wouldn't be back in the Flames here. Would only be a look at the Canadians.
All right, we'll come back across the border, going to the United Center. The St. Louis Blues taking on the Chicago Blackhawks in Chicago. Blues are a minus 125 favorite on the road. There is 120, even a 117 available for those Blues, but plus 105 here at the South Point for the Blackhawks at home. Just a reminder, Connor Bedard will not be playing in this game. Connor Bedard was injured against this very team, the St. Louis Blues, on the final 0.2 seconds of the game. So should be a very physical battle with everybody involved here, knowing that the Blues injured the star player for the Blackhawks.
They've won 3 in a row. He hasn't come back at all yet, right?
Correct.
So they're just they're pushing it maybe till after this game. Should be soon. He was skating.
Yeah, he has been back to practice. They are coaches said that he will be back within the week. They obviously not tonight, but they do play the Capitals on Sunday, and then I believe they get the Predators on the road on Monday. So likely to get him back for one of those 2 games. But he has been back at practice, and that could be why we've seen the offense kind of humming and boys feeling good that their boys coming back. So, but to kind of handicap this game, whichever team wins this game will earn their longest win streak of the year. The St. Louis Blues have only won back-to-back games, meaning that their longest win streak would be 3 if they got the win tonight. And the Chicago Blackhawks have won 3 straight headed into this, meaning that 4 consecutive wins would be their longest win streak of the year so far this season. But it is the start of a 3-game road trip for the Blues. They have not won the first game of an extended road trip at all this season. They have won the first of a 2-game road trip, but never the first of a 3 or more game road trip so far this season. And yeah, I mentioned that the Blackhawks get the Capitals at home on Saturday. They will play the rest of the month, the majority of the month, still here in the United Center. They only get 5 games on the road in the month of January. So the Madhouse on Madison should be buzzing, especially in this rivalry game that's been a rivalry for a very long time. So it will be a play on the Blackhawks, plus 105, getting kind of revenge for their boy there.
I'm with you. I think that there's definitely value there. I actually made the Blackhawks a small favorite here at home against the Blues. I think the Blues still have a little bit of their name associated with the prices that we're seeing with them. They are not a great hockey team, 17, 18, and 8 on the year. They're 7, 9, and 3 on the road. And then I believe Chicago's got the better goaltender here with Spencer Knight. And if you look at those numbers, it tells you right there he's got a .910 save percentage and a 2.60 goals against average. So I like Chicago plus 105. I think there's a lot of value there. So my favorite play of the night on the ice.
All right, coming over to Utah, the Senators on the road taking on the Mammoth. Looks like we have the Mammoth as a 125 favorite here at the South Point, plus 105 on the buyback for the Sens. Total is 6 with a 120 to the over.
I've got nothing in this one. I think those numbers are just right. I'm slightly higher on Utah. I've got a minus 132, but well, I do lean to the over here. I've got 6.5 under. So they're at 6 over, a little bit of a difference. 6.5 under 20, so I'm at 6.3. So 10-cent difference there. Not enough to really get involved, but we do have the Senators that have gone over in 3 straight games, 2 straight road games for them coming into this one, and 2 straight home games for Utah, but they're finally back at home. So lean to the over, but nothing confident for me in this one, Ryan.
The Sens are coming off a loss to the Red Wings. I was good enough to play the Red Wings in that one, but it's the first of a back-to-back for the Senators. They are in Utah tonight and then take on the Avalanche tomorrow night. So they know they got to win this one because they got a pretty tough battle coming up tomorrow night. But in net, they have a probable starter of Mads Sogard. He will be making his season debut if he is between the pipes for the Senators. It's not a career debut. He was drafted by the Sens in 2019, spent a couple years in the minors, but has played sparingly, throughout the last couple of years. I think peaked at 19 games appearance in 2023, but has a 3.64 goals allowed average and a .88 save percentage as an NHL goalie. So the first of a 7-game homestand here for the Mammoth. They don't have another road game until a 4-game road trip starting on January 24th, meaning that they have over 2 weeks here at home for the Mammoth. So it is a play on the Mammoth at home, getting things right for the guys in the Delta Center, getting the fans hyped up for this little extended home period that they have. So we'll go down to...
like it. Maybe that leads me to a Mammoth team total over, because no matter which goalie is going, I do think Utah could score some here. I'm more worried about Vejmelka on the other side kind of slowing down the Senators, but nothing. Sorry, just throwing that out there.
No,
because I was looking at that 6, and then maybe it's just one team.
Okay. All right, we'll go to the final game on the ice tonight. Puck drop at 7:37, give or take. But Sharks on the road in Los Angeles taking on the Kings. It is the final regular season matchup for these two teams. They split 1-1. The Kings won the first one 4-3, and then the Sharks won the second one 4-3, but in a shootout there. So we have it priced as a $250 favorite at home for the Kings, plus 210 on the buyback for the Sharks, and a total of 6 with 120 to the over.
Wow. My total is there at 6, and that is all because of the Kings here. These two are completely different, right? Looking at the Sharks, their median numbers, 3 goals for, 4 goals against. The Kings, 2 goals for at home, 3 goals against. Both of those are losing medians there, and that's because we know that the Kings have struggled at home, which is unlike what we saw last year with LA. I do think that they should be about $2, $2.50 getting up there, but get the buyback at 210 isn't really enough for me to get involved. Sharks have been the better team though, Ryan. They're 6-4 in their last 10. Kings 4-6. What do you think? You taking a shot here or not on the back-to-back? Because I was pretty fortunate, got there with the Sharks yesterday.
Yeah, not just pretty fortunate. They kind of dominated that game. They won 5-2, although Ryan Reeves did not dominate that game. He got his bell rung for probably the first time in his career in a fight versus Andre Duclair. But yeah, you mentioned second of a back-to-back for the Sharks. They also have a back-to-back at home over the weekend against the Stars and the Knights. So we kind of mentioned earlier with 4 games in 6 days, they get a 2-day break and then have another back-to-back, but at least that time at home. But yeah, the Kings have won back-to-back games, both of which were versus the Minnesota Wild. So I think this could be kind of a letdown, knowing that they beat a very hot team in the Minnesota Wild twice. And yeah, the Kings have not been very good at home. The Sharks are feeling pretty good. So yeah, you were right into playing the spot yesterday with the Sharks. But it's a stay off for you at the 210, but I think I might end up doing it. Take the 210 with the Sharks here.
I think there's a little value there. I really do. And I mean, they've got a winning record right now, this Sharks team. They're 21-18-3. They're 9-10 on the road, and you're getting plus 210 with this team. They're priced like the team that couldn't string together 2 wins last year. So some value there. Maybe that's a look to the over too, because if you think the Sharks are going to win, then probably goals being scored. That's the way they want to play, right? Kings want to grind you out and get a low-scoring game there. All right, let's get the whiteboards ready. Looks like we've got some votes for our poll. Curious to see what everybody came up with. Kind of set them up for failure yesterday because there were no road teams getting plus money that were winners. But let's see what we got today. who's going to build that win streak.
Yeah, so we gave you guys home favorites. Capitals -120 at home against the Stars. Canadians -155 at home against the Flames. And the Mammoth -125 at home against the Senators. And 50% of our vote went with the Capitals. First game rotation number, being able to get it done. Start a win streak there against the Stars, who would be losers of 8 straight if they don't end up getting that done.
I think that's where you and I were leaning as well as we went through there. Well, you did like the Canadians as well, right? You like a couple of those.
Yeah. I ultimately do like all 3 of them to get it done. But the last time I was playing big favorites at home, both underdogs won on consecutive times that I tried it. So yeah,
that was more like a king favorite because it was the Avs and who? Carolina or Dallas?
I think it was Edmonton.
So that was more like $2 favorite there.
Yeah.
That kind of reminds me that maybe the Sharks are some value because this year those big favorites have been tricky. Okay, let's go to our whiteboard plays of the day. I've got 4 college basketball. I've got 2 on the ice. Fun show today. It felt like it went really quick, kind of a little bit of everything there, and getting to talk about the semifinal games that are starting tomorrow. Tomorrow, Dwayne Colucci will join me from the Rampart, and then Chris Andrews, sports director here at the South Point, will stop in. So it'll be all 3 of us for a little bit, then we'll let Dwayne go, and then Chris and I will look ahead to football, and then we will do that again Friday. Football Frenzy. Ryan will be back. We'll have a lot to talk about with the wild card weekend. A reminder, Kenny White play of the day. Throwing that out there. FAU UAB over 162.5. He had a big difference from his spreadsheet and his power ratings there. Okay, let's go to my plays on the hardwood. I am going with Indiana -7.5. A much better team than Maryland. I think Maryland's just had to go through a lot of rebuild this year. So I'm going to lay the points there. Xavier, I'm going to take the 4 points. It was between taking the points and going with the over, but that revenge factor, Joey B, I got to go with Xavier here, who did lose to Marquette in the conference tournament. So that's definitely going to be on their mind. Miami pick'em. I think they can get this win over Wake Forest, and then St. Louis and VCU over 171.5. That is it for me for the hardwood. On the ice, Blackhawks +105, dog of the day. And then I'm going with the Capitals, just like the chat here, -115 to get this win and to start a nice little win streak. Ryan, what say you for your plays of the day?
All right, I'm going to get the money line on there for tomorrow night's Fiesta Bowl against Miami. Don't follow. It's a homer play, but I will be playing it. All right, 4 plays on the ice tonight, and then tomorrow's Fiesta Bowl. Oh, I touched the marker. Anyway, the Canadians laying the 1.5 against the Flames, getting +170 there at home. The Blackhawks on the money line, +105 at home against the St. Louis Blues. The Utah Mammoth laying the price there, -125 against the Ottawa Senators. I might have to commit myself to split it up and go puck line. Let me make sure what that price is. Mammoth getting $2 there on the puck line to win by at least 2 against the Sens. And then the Sharks getting the 210 there in Los Angeles against the Kings. There is a 215 available in the market if you can shop around. But 210 here at the South Point. And then Hotty Toddy getting it done in the Fiesta Bowl, taking down the Hurricanes, advancing to the national championship.
I love it. Let's keep it going. Yesterday, a lot of home teams dominated, both on the hardwood and the ice. Ryan, for your board, I hope those home teams dominate again. For mine, too. My 2, 1 dog, 1 favorite, both home teams. So hopefully we can keep that going. For anybody that does like the Grand Salami, 30.5 is the number here at the South Point. Juice to the under, -115 to the under there. Did not look into what my numbers would be.
Well, we had 77 going over the Grand Salami yesterday by 14 goals.
Wow.
So if you kind of think the law of averages will balance out, maybe a couple unders tonight, but I
24.
you said it was at
That
30 and a
number's
half.
right there. Yeah.
I think I like the under.
Do you?
I think so.
Yeah. I mean, if the Caps win 2-0, like
Yeah,
the first
but-
time they kind of
Yeah.
played that tight, low-scoring game, that will set you up for a pretty good underplay. I mean, the Islanders helped get that over yesterday by themselves.
Oh my God! Yeah, they set a franchise record for goals in the game, beating the Devils 9-0. Yeah, they're in the UBS arena, but yeah, that one was a pretty fun one to watch. Kind of like I thought the Hurricanes game would be a lot closer than it was, but yeah, the Stars weren't really competitive in that one. But yeah, so many goals yesterday. It was a good day to be in attendance of those games.
Yeah, definitely. We need to look at how teams do after putting up between 7 and 9 goals, because we did just see it. So see how their next game.
The Capitals, I did kind of look at that because I was curious. The Capitals have put up 7 goals in a game before this season. They then followed it up with an 8-goal performance, and then they lost that one 4-3 the following night. So,
Wow.
yeah, we talk about the Capitals being a very spotty offense. Definitely, so very much so.
Yeah, you got to roll with them when they're playing good, playing quick like that. So that's what we are going to try to do tonight. Anything else from the chat that we need to chime in? Oh, we do have a ticker trivia, though, and a correct answer.
Yeah, ticker
Perfect.
trivia presented by City Light Shine, available at Total Wine, Lee's Discount Liquor, and here at the South Point Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas. It was the basketball question for you today, but in the association. So one of the greatest centers to play the game, Shaquille O'Neal, recorded his 1,000th block in the Los Angeles Lakers' victory over the Milwaukee Bucks on January 7th, 1998. How many blocks did O'Neal ultimately end his career with? And which player leads the NBA in career blocks? We did have a correct answer from Mr. Sansone. 19-year NBA veteran Shaquille O'Neal ended his career with 2,732 blocks, but that ranks behind the all-time leader, Hakeem Olajuwon, with 3,830 blocks in his 18-year NBA career. I did want to add a note of the current NBA blocks leader is Brook Lopez with almost 2,100 blocks, 2,088. So he is 1,650 shy of Hakeem Olajuwon. But the man that might put that record in check if he does play for another 17 years, Victor Wembanyama, in just 2.5 years of his NBA career, is up to 492 blocks. He needs to get to 537 in order to get to the top 250 in NBA history, which would put him on the leaderboard on Basketball Reference.
Jeez.
But yeah, Victor Wembanyama, the blocks leader his past 2 years in the NBA.
That is insane. What pace would that put him on?
Well, he had 264 his first year, had one, I think, 64, 170 something last year. And I believe now he's almost to 50 so far this season. So, yeah, I think he should be well on his way to getting at least in the top 10.
Yeah. Good question. I like that it was kind of a twofold there with Shaq's number, but then also who holds the record. So great job from our guy Vince, always mixing it up there. Thank you, everybody who is watching live. Thank you if you jumped in with our poll questions. We'll be watching to see if any of those work out. Ryan and I both agree with the Capitals. I'll definitely be watching those games on the hardwood to see if any of those dogs cover too against ranked opponents. We'll be back. I'll be back tomorrow, 10 a.m. Pacific time. Another full day to break down with you guys, give out our best bets on Sports by the Book, and I'll have 2 bookmakers here, Dwayne Colucci and Chris Andrews. Ryan, I hope everything works out. Hope Ole Miss pulls off the upset for you and your family, your brother going down there to watch the game. We'll see you back here on Friday, ready to break down the Peach Bowl and Wild Card Weekend. Thank you to the crew and Jerry, Sean, Vince, and Andrew. We'll be back tomorrow. Cash some tickets, everybody. Best of luck. For Ryan McCormick, I'm Alex White. This is Sports by the Book.